lady, complete with apron and a huge smile, hugging a vacuum, and she reminded me in no uncertain terms that she was my wife, not my housekeeper. She immediately ordered me to return the vacuum cleaner and buy a more suitable Christmas present. I got myself out of trouble with a necklace that cost twice the price of the vacuum, but was worth every penny for the peace it brought. Comes to Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, I warn you to never, ever buy your wife something for the house. Seth shook his head to emphasize the warning. I guarantee you will get more grief than you can imagine. Mort shifted his eyes to me. I nodded. I was in full agreement with Seth, but smiled to soften the blow. Best to follow the doctor's orders. With your backing Doc up, Mrs. F., I'm convinced. I'll go and scan the adverts for something better, Mort said. Mara came to our table, coffee pot in hand, and filled my cup, then Seth's. Then she offered Mort and Dan refills. Mort gladly held up his cup, while Dan shook his head and placed a hand over his, the universal signal for no thank you. Done pouring, Mara took a step back so she could see all four of us. Cold morning. A bit of snow on the ground. Let me guess. 4 short stacks of blueberry pancakes with a side of bacon each for Mort and Dan. Mara, Seth began, but Mara cut him off. I know, Doc. Delicious as my pancakes are without it, you always want extra butter on your stack. That was Mara's way of reminding us that her blueberry pancakes were consistently lauded all over Maine and in our neighboring states of Vermont and New Hampshire. She'd won so many prizes at county fairs that there was barely a smidgen of space left to display any more awards on the wall next to the front door. Oblivious to Mara's exhibit of frustration with his constant reminders that he wanted extra butter, Seth gave her a satisfied grin and a brief nod. While we waited for our pancakes, Dan again brought up the email he'd received from Mayor Jim Shevlin. I don't understand why we are meeting again. I thought we'd already finished ironing out who will take care of what. It's not like we've never done this before. I am the new kid in town, and even I can recite who does what and when they do it. Hasn't changed an iota since I got here. Although I hadn't checked my email that morning, I assumed that if Dan and Mort got a meeting notice, I did as well. So it didn't strike me as odd when Seth said he'd received one. I'm with you, Dan, he said. I thought we met simply to reaffirm everyone's assignments for the pageant play as well as the Christmas Day parade. I, for one, am mighty glad that all I have to do is pick up Clara Wisenhunt from her assisted living center, drive her to the parade site, and settle her in the founder's carriage before the parade starts. Then I will dash to the finish line to help her alight from the rig and escort her to the basement of the Presbyterian Church, where parade participants will enjoy a celebratory breakfast. Once I return her to Shady Willows, my contribution to the Cabot Cove Christmas festivities will be done. I could see that worry had crossed Seth's mind, because he furrowed his brow and pursed his lips, and then he said, Oh, I forgot to ask Mara if she will be making her blueberry pancakes this year. A few years back, she went to visit some relatives in Bangor for the holidays, and, well, the post-parade breakfast just wasn't the same. I looked up and saw Mara heading our way, carrying a tray filled with plates of blueberry pancakes, each with steam twirling from the top. Before she could assure Seth that there was a side of extra butter tucked against the pancakes on his plate, Seth asked if she would be making pancakes in the church kitchen for the festivities after the parade. Of course I will. Always do when I am in town. Honestly, I missed one parade 5 years ago and folks are still complaining. She put Seth's plate in front of him, allowing it to bang against the chrome tabletop a little more loudly than usual. Next was my plate, which she set down more gently in front of me while she changed the subject. I suppose you heard the news, Jessica. Albert Palacia has come back to Cabot Cove. As I